Hey y'all, happy Black History Month. A lot of people with birthdays today on the 2nd, and of course, go Niners. Bang, bang, Niner gang. You feel me? We're gonna win. We have to. So, this is your Badass Bookworm. I'm here to give you a book report for the month. I just grabbed up a pile of things, and first on that pile is my dear friend Alexandra Naughton. Her new book is called A Place of Feeling Something He Said to You. Alexandra Naughton writing about trauma. And she has been on the podcast, will be back on the podcast, and I think she and I are going to do a podcast this month talking about inclusivity in readings and like academia not snubbing the rest of us, basically the non-MFAers. Without fighting or dissing anybody, we're going to try to have that conversation to make things better, because on Facebook it seems to be getting worse. And I can take some blame for that, because I just feel like talking shit to them, because fuck about an MFA personally. But that's me. So, Fresh Water is a book I have not read, but my dear friend Peggy Morrison gave it to me. The last book she lent me was Mars Room, and I freaking loved that, by Rachel Kushner. This one is, oh Lord, can I say this name? Akwaeke Emezi? I'm probably not saying it right. There's the cover. I'm dying to get into this. I just need to get myself together and sit down and have some time to read that. I can't wait. So last week we had a book club here at the house, and we featured Tomas Moniz's book, which I don't have here, stupid. While we were talking about that book, Big Familia, which I recommended last month and really enjoyed reading, a book was recommended, something about writer Ruth Crossman was comparing some things that he'd written to some of the stories here. This is a writer who is no longer with us, but she probably would have been big if she wasn't a woman in the 70s. This is called A Manual for Cleaning Women, and it's short stories, and her name is Lucia Berlin. So on Ruth Crossman's huge recommendation, I got it. I've read a little bit. I do like it. I haven't got to the Bay Area stuff yet, but I know I'll like that more, because I always love reading about the Bay Area. I know, I love reading about the whole world, don't get me wrong. But, of course, in this pile is myself. And you should always stop by nomadicpress.org and look for a copy of Collapse, or really any of the books they publish are dope as fuck. Or any of the books that I publish, for that matter. Okay, yesterday had a freaking blast up in here. We turned up in here, and I had Jeremy Michael Vasquez here. This is his new book of poetry. It's called The Path to Freedom. We talked about a lot of things, and we drank a lot of Maker's Mark, and he's going to join my lineup, if you're in the Bay, on February 17th at Legionnaire Saloon. We will have Matt Cedillo, Viva Padilla, Nikolai Garcia, and Jeremy Michael Vasquez for a killer good time. 2 of them are coming up from LA. Well, 3 of them are coming from LA, including Matt, who has been on the podcast and has featured at the Lit Loft. But the other 2 work on a journal called Dryland, which is like I've been hearing about for years, and it's really, really wonderful out of LA. So if you're in Oakland on the 17th, we're going to be at Legionnaire at 7 p.m. and it's going to be fun. We just had our Moondrop reading series there the other night, and it was so fun. Like, packed seats, very mixed group of people, old and young, and maybe too young, and maybe too old to get up the stairs. My only regret is that it's not accessible, and I apologize to you, but this is a lovely venue that has offered this space to us, and it's really nice and fun. So if you can make it up the stairs, please do. That's where we'll also have this 17th reading, but we just did Moondrop. Moondrop may go back to Original Patterns Brewery if you're in Oakland and you know what I'm talking about, and otherwise, tune in to the podcast because all these people will be, this is not the right theme music, dear, will be performing at one time or another. So interesting. It has all these on here. Oh, Lord. Okay, never mind. Everybody thinks it's funny that I just say whatever. But you know what? It's whatever, right? You love me. I love you. We love books. So I'm going to be reading this. I got to listen to some. Oh, and my favorite, which he didn't read on the podcast because we talked a lot about Kanye and the heartbreak of Kanye, was a piece he read to me privately out of this book about Kanye, and that really did it for me. Oops! Hype. See? Accidental hype. You can't even be around Jeremy. He's that hype. I'm telling you. Oh, we're also going to perhaps, I think this is a real, we're going to have a book release for this right here in my backyard. So stay tuned for details or contact me or whatever you need to do. Okay, now, speaking of podcasts and books, I often listen to Touré because he has really great people on. And one of them was Erica Armstrong Dunbar, who was talking about Harriet Tubman. I haven't seen the Harriet movie yet. I am going to see it. I do want to support it, even though I know some people have problems with it, whatever. But regardless, this woman has researched the shit out of Harriet Tubman and has the best, most interesting stories about her personally. And her life is insane. All the stuff that she did and how many people she saved and how incredibly daring and how spiritual and just so much. I enjoyed listening to her talk about it so much that I bought the book, and you gotta love this title, right? I mean, she came to slay, and that she did, baby. So I recommend that book. I'm reading it. Join me in reading it. I'm going to stop piling things on the hype button. Okay, the other day I had on a friend on the pod. It should be up on Tuesday, the 8th of February, if all goes well. And it was my friend Joe Clifford. This is his memoir. I can't hold all his books up because the man has 15 books or something. He's writing 2 novels a year. So I was lucky to get a little bit of his time. We had a great conversation, from politics and writing and past lives of junkiedom in San Francisco to wonderful family lives and prolific writer that he is. And he's just a love. I really enjoyed sitting down with him. And the other Joe was the week before. This has aired, and it's both video on YouTube and audio on the podcast, which should be on any podcast platform you're looking, is my old friend Joe Loya. Joe Loya, this is his book, The Man Who Outgrew His Prison Cell, but he's been writing all over the place. He's writing shows, he's creating shows, he's on this podcast called The Score, Diaries of a Bank Robber, that is so good. Like, if you need to get in the car or do something and you just need to get into something and listen to that podcast. I'm not even playing. It is so good. It's so well produced, in fact, and he's such a good storyteller that he's getting movie offers, and he shared that with us on the pod. But of course, okay, so you can probably hear a little beeping in the background, just a little beep. They've dropped off a bunch of mopeds on our street, and the kids that have no playground or anything to do are just playgrounding on them, so they beep the horn all day, every day. It's a lot. Those are my book recommendations, any and all of them, different strokes, right? Oh, I probably had more poetry I could have brought in, but whatever the case, look for, I'm so sorry about the audio on the Watchers of Watchmen. That was such a good conversation. Oh my God, it was so good. And the audio came out like shit, and the video didn't come out either. And I don't honestly know why, and I'm sorry, because we had such a good time. It was so informative and just beeping away. And anyways, that was Watchers of Watchmen. I will not do the mics the way I did that. I will try something different. But I'm going to do a roundtable with local Latinx authors on Friday. Not sure when I'll air it, but we're going to talk about the American Dirt saga. I haven't read it, and I know about it because I had friends protesting it, and people that I trust are saying it's shit, and they do not want it representing them when there is plenty of Latinx writers to write their own stories. So I am trying to get them together around the kitchen table and talk about it and teach y'all about it as I learn myself. And I know Oprah's doing some shit like that, but I was asked not to compare it to Oprah because a very valid point, she's going to make money off it either which way. I'm not trying to make money off it. I want to learn and hear and learn about new writers or writers that I'm not aware of that have made that crossing into this country, that have experienced the things that are written about in this book firsthand, and need representation. They need to be published. We need to be reading their work and hearing their voices, and I'm here for that. Right? I'm here for that, and so my job is to kind of just sit back and record the conversation and share it with y'all, right? Because we can do better. We can always do better. Don't know what the fuck's gonna happen with this impeachment. Probably nothing. I don't know what's gonna happen with this football game. Probably everything. But I'm just here with y'all watching, collecting all my brilliant writer friends to help sort through it all and share insight and misery and laughs and words and books and writing. So please stay tuned. This has been your February book report. I will be back in March. And we'll talk some more and have a whole nother stack of books and list of readings that you should put in your calendar and come out and support the podcast. I'm working on the Patreon page, so you can become a patron and support just a little couple bucks here and there. Anything is helpful, and it's always used to support the community of writers that we have here in the Bay, which is awesome. But we want you to watch wherever you are and hear from you. Please, will you comment? Will you email me? Will you hit me up? Follow me, Facebook, all that. Cassandra Dallet, 2 L's, 2 T's,